So today we're going to be talking about the formation of a new black hole in the night sky. It's been recently discovered to be formed and expected to be a black hole at least. In the sky report, we're going to be focusing a lot on the moon, especially since we have the November supermoon coming this Friday. So a lot of big and important things to talk about there. And finally, we're going to be talking about SpaceX and SpaceX's expected sixth test flight, I believe, with Starship that is expected to occur next Monday. Anyways, all that and more we'll be talking about. This is Interstellar Insights. Alright guys, so to start off today, we're going to be talking about this star that's been observed in the night sky for probably 10 years now. But people believe that this star actually is now a black hole. So before I kind of get in the story, I just kind of want to go in the background, especially with all the science, because it is very elaborate, if you will. So of course, we know about supernova. They're formed usually by stars 8 times the size of the sun, and then stars really are balancing their inward force of gravity with the force of fusion, which they do by converting hydrogen into helium within the cores of their stars. And then of course, when this fuel runs out within a star, that star dies out. The fusion force is going to be extremely weakened, which leads to the star collapsing on itself due to its own gravity. And then of course, that leads to the supernova explosion, as well as it collapsing further in. And then, if we're talking about really big stars like red supergiants, the gravity and force is so strong that of course creates a black hole. And yeah, usually there's a supernova before it is accompanied by a black hole, but sometimes, in very, very rare instances, stars will fail to explode in a supernova, and instead of kind of going from red supergiant star running out of fuel to supernova to black hole, they'll just skip the supernova stage and transform directly into a black hole. And so there's actually a name for these types of supernovae. They're known by two names. They're either known by core collapse supernovae or type 2, as they're sometimes called. And very rare, just once every 100 years. And I think there's the only confirmed failed supernova, if you will, that's kind of the term that they use, is there's some supergiant red star in NGC 6946, otherwise known as the Fireworks Galaxy. I think that was actually during the week of 4th of July 2 months ago, or actually no, my sense of time today has been so out of whack. I thought today was Thursday, since no, it's Wednesday. But like 4 months ago, we briefly talked about it since I was in the night sky. But anyways, I'm getting off topic. Star in that galaxy failed supernova. I believe that's the only confirmed failed supernova in the night sky. So it is pretty interesting and pretty rare, like I said, once in 100 years. But there's probably more waiting to be discovered at that rate. But anyways, going to now regarding our star. There's actually a star in the Andromeda Galaxy called M31-2013-DS1. Yes, I know, very long name, very poorly named, although I do see the reason for 2014 in the name. It's, obviously that was the year they started recording this in the night sky. But yeah, that's that was the name. But anyways, back in 2014, it was a very, very bright star. You could see it in the night sky back then. But over the years, it's been dimming and dimming, mainly because, the way light travels. If a black hole would form, that light would be the light would probably get sucked up by the black hole, or since there's no more light source, that light would just kind of diminish out as it travels through space towards us, and we see it in the night sky. But anyways, it's been dimming and dimming, and like even though M31 2014 DS1 is classified as a variable star, being a variable star doesn't really explain its behavior, and really the kind of leading theory is that during neutronization, which occurs when there is a supernova, which leads to the neutronization leads to neutrino shock, which is what causes the explosion, and this occurs when that neutrino shock is revived, but scientists believe that doesn't happen, and instead the shock wave simply collapsed, which didn't lead to any visible explosion. But yeah, this is pretty interesting regarding that. Maybe in the next year or so we'll actually see a black hole where M31 2014 DS1 once was in the night sky 10 years ago. So I mean, yeah. Anyway, and yeah, like this theory regarding the neutrino shock that would potentially cause the supernova not being revived and collapsing, leading to just zero supernova and black hole. I mean, it's something fairly fascinating, and hopefully this theory will stand. Only time will tell through observations if this star became such not a supernova, a black hole, and it just skips the supernova phase. But anyways, yeah, that's all I've got for this topic. Let's go move on to this week's Sky Report. Alrighty, guys. So this week it's all about the moon, because the moon's going to be in kind of many different places, and there's a lot of good things to see about the sky. So like tonight through Friday, prime time to go out and take a look at the moon. So anyway, starting with today the 13th. Also, this is probably the first time I framed myself, but all times are going to be in Eastern Standard or Eastern Daylight Time. So if you do not live on that time zone, go figure out, do the math. I'm not here to do that for you because I don't use that time. So yeah, anyways, tonight, moon, the bright waxing gibbous moon. It's going to be very visible. It's going to be above the eastern horizon, as soon as darkness hits after sunset. And there's going to be a lot of, there's going to be a lot of features visible from the moon tonight, in the southwestern portion, which will be the most, it'll be like the primary portion that will be visible to the moon. Features such as, craters like Henry, Henry, those are two different craters. Henry, I believe it's Frecque, like Frecque Jacques, like the song. I don't know. Henry and Mercinus, those are all going to be visible, as well as the geographical feature Dragon's Mouth, which will all be in the southwestern feature, very, very visible tonight. Anyways, Thursday, I'm sure you guessed, I'm going to talk about the moon again, because the moon is going to reach perigee at 6:16 a.m., which is the moon's kind of closest point, I believe. I'm getting perigee and apogee confused. But anyways, that's going to occur at 6:16 a.m. And yeah, I just checked. Yeah, perigee, closest point that the moon is to Earth, and the moon is going to be 223,762 miles away, which is actually going to set the stage for Friday, which I will talk about briefly later. But anyways, besides the moon, 90 minutes before sunrise, so in the early morning before, I guess it's not really the crack of dawn, but before, there's actually not going to be a moon, and instead there's going to be a bunch of stars. So a lot of all the major constellations are going to be up, such as the Big and Little Dipper, Polaris, and stars like that. Cassiopeia. It's going to be kind of to the right of the Little Dipper in the night sky, the W-shaped portion of that constellation. And, there's going to be plenty more stars that are going to be up. So if you don't care about the moon, perfect time, if you will, to just see stars and none of the moon. But anyways, we're going to have to go back to the moon because on Friday, if this wasn't surprising to you enough, there's going to be some moon action. In this case, this is the November supermoon or the Beaver moon. And I believe supermoons occur when I believe it's when the moon is at perigee. I don't know if there's a different term for when it occurs at apogee. But anyways, it's going to occur at 4:29 p.m. So that'll be, well, here on the East Coast at least, that'll be afternoon. But anyways, this is going to be the last supermoon of this year. We'll probably see more in 2025. Of course, I will talk more about those. But I mean, because there was the October supermoon last month. That was kind of a big deal. And so yeah, we got just a month later, another supermoon popping in. But anyways, oh wait, hold up. Yeah. The moon itself is actually going to be 224,853 miles away. So it's like at near perigee. It's a little bit farther than where it was on Thursday. But if you want to look at it, the moon is going to pass 4 degrees north of Uranus at that night at around 8 p.m. And it's going to be stand to the right of Pleiades, I believe. Pleiades, something like that. It's one of those fancy Greek constellations. Never took Greek. Very hard to pronounce, but you understand. It's going to basically stand to the right of that constellation, and that'll be basically where it is for its time during the night. But anyways, besides the actual action, I will give you some times. So for today, sunset's going to occur at 4:45 p.m. Moonrise is going to occur hour earlier-ish at 3:16 p.m. And moonset's going to occur at 3:54 a.m. On Thursday the 14th, sunrise is going to occur at 6:45 a.m. Sunset's going to occur at 4:44 p.m. Moonrise is going to occur at 3:46 p.m. And moonset's going to occur at 5:12 a.m. On the 15th, aka this Friday, sunrise is going to occur at 6:46 a.m. Sunset's going to occur at 4:43 p.m. Moonrise is going to occur at 4:21 p.m. And moonset's going to occur at 6:32 a.m. And then your phases today and tomorrow, so Wednesday and Thursday, the phases are going to be at waxing gibbous. Meanwhile, Friday, because we have the supermoon, it's going to be a full moon. That's one of the criteria in order to be a supermoon. So, yeah, I mean, we got some real interesting, things going on, especially with the moon this week. So if you're into that part of astronomy regarding the moon, go out, take a look, especially Friday night with the supermoon. It's going to be pretty cool. It's going to be very bright. I remember looking out at the October supermoon, and man, like, that was probably one of the brightest nights I've experienced. So I mean, yeah, it's quite a spectacle in the night sky. But anyways, let's go move on from the sky report to our second topic that we are going to be discussing. All right, guys. So moving on to our second topic, we're going to be talking. I guess this is really the second time. Actually, no, it's probably like the thirdish time. But we're going to be talking back about SpaceX, because SpaceX, if we do a little recap, sometime, I don't remember exactly, last month in October, they had their historical Starship launch with the super heavy booster, where they used the metal chopsticks, the mechanical metal chopsticks, I guess it was somewhere in Texas, to basically recapture the boosters and allow the boosters to be reused, which is going to really revolutionize space travel and make it a whole lot cheaper. But anyways, SpaceX has moved on from that, and they're going to be launching a sixth test flight for Starship Starship. It's expected to happen no earlier than next Monday at 5 p.m. Just like everything I say in times, unless specified, Eastern time. So, I mean, it's going to be pretty important, and, it's going to be very similar to the last test flight, as they're going to try and catch the rocket boosters as they take Starship off, and, hope that the rocket boosters are going to be able to be caught and reused. And if not, it's going to go into the Gulf of Mexico, so no one's expected to, get hurt from this. So it'll be very similar, although one difference that they're testing is they're thinking of getting rid of some of the heat shield tiles from Starship. And basically what they're going to do is they're going to try and install some potential new software. This software can be used to, enable catching of the Starship, so, we just don't waste resources on rockets, and, they're reusable. So, like, technology that'll allow, Starship to land safely and be reused. As a commercial spacecraft, if you will, it's kind of, it is commercial. This is, of course, Starship's a private company compared to NASA, which is a federal government program of the U.S. So, yeah, that is what's expected to happen next week. But one of the notable things, one of the key things, is that this is actually a pretty fast turnover. Because we've only had it's only been a month since the last test flight, and historically, or not, I guess is it fair to say historically? I don't know. There have been clashes between SpaceX and the FAA regarding licensing. As you know, the FAA is like, they've got their ultra heavy regulations on this kind of stuff, and SpaceX just wants to, kind of deregulate this area and, let them do what they need to do in order to further develop prototype spacecraft that can be reused. But SpaceX, anyways, is expected to do more test flights, and this kind of comes amidst of the 2024 presidential election. So, I'm not trying to get political here, but of course, Trump won. As a politician, Trump's kind of more of a deregulator, so that probably means, I guess, I think his name's Mike Wicker, who's in charge of the FAA, who's making these statements that, they're taking precautions and they're levying all these heavy regulations on SpaceX regarding licensing and what they can test. Because I believe I talked about this last episode, but like for every single test flight, whatever they want to change, they have to get like a new license for that. So it's a pain in the butt for SpaceX for them to do that. So, with the election of Donald Trump, I'm not trying to get political here, like I said, but he's probably going to kind of loosen regulations a little bit and allow SpaceX to conduct more flights. Anyways, speaking of potential flights in the future after this flight, I believe, NASA came out and said that sometime in March 2025, which is like 4 months, 4 months from now, there's going to be another demonstration by SpaceX where they will demonstrate to NASA basically a transfer of propellant while in orbit of space, and it's going to be using two Starships. So it's kind of the space equivalent of like I forgot what those aircraft are called, but like those aircraft that can like refuel your plane mid-flight, like those planes, except imagine it being done with two Starships and in Earth's orbit. So yeah, SpaceX is launch, probably might cover it next week if they do the launch, just a little bit there. But yeah, it is interesting. Once again, I believe that they're truly revolutionizing this technology, making it reusable, making it affordable, and who knows, maybe 20 years time, we'll be traveling all throughout the solar system. So yeah, that's all I've got for this topic. Like I said, hopefully maybe I can get an update next week regarding the actual test flight. But anyways, let's go move over to this week's edition of Astronomy Trivia. Alrighty, guys. Welcome to this week's edition of Astronomy Trivia. As usual, before I get into this week's question, I'm going to tell you the answer for last week's question. I don't have it right in front of me, but I believe last week's question was asking whose middle finger was on display in Florence, which he famously used to against the church when they disagreed with him. And of course, that person is Galileo, who I believe is kind of native to Florence. I could be wrong, but like I said, Galileo used his middle finger against the church because they believed, his work was like he was kind of a heretic, and all of his work was like not true. It was against the church and the faith and religion and all that. Because at the time, the church believed it was the world, or not the world, the universe was geocentric and Earth was like the center of everything. But Copernicus proved it earlier, I think in like the 15th century, whereas Galileo is kind of from the 17th century. Copernicus, of course, proved that we are in a heliocentric system, which of course means the sun's in the center. But he was persecuted, and so was Galileo, and he was persecuted for similar beliefs to Copernicus. But anyways, the middle finger is on display in the Museo Galileo in Florence, Italy. So if you're ever there, go visit it. I visited like 5 years ago when I went to Italy. It's actually a pretty cool piece. Besides the middle finger, you can actually see all the kind of the Baroque Renaissance technology, mainly with the thermometers, and how they used to use, I believe, mercury as like the liquid, but now they don't anymore. I believe it's like alcohol or something like that. Some more safe than mercury, because that's not good. But anyways, besides my experiences at that museum, your question for this week's edition of Astronomy Trivia is: what types of stars are the smallest and have the greatest lifespan of all stars? I want to read it again. What type of stars are the smallest and have the greatest lifespan? I'm going to make a poll out for, of course, YouTube and Spotify viewers separately, so you guys can both types of viewers, can go ahead and have a chance at answering this question. But anyways, that's all I've got for this week's edition of Astronomy Trivia. Let's go close out this podcast. All right, guys. So next week, last week I was quite busy. I should probably explain. Last week I was really busy. I couldn't fit in enough time for the podcast. A lot of school stuff, plus a lot of other things. Election, that kind of screwed it up. But anyways, yeah. Next week should be regular song and dance. Nothing out of the blue. I do have news. There is a third episode coming out this Friday for the bonus show. I'll just say that episode's going to be interesting. We'll just say the least. The people I interviewed weren't exactly, well, I mean, they're trying to be funny, but I mean, it's one of those things where you go like, your discretion is advised. Let's just leave it at that. But anyways, that's all I've got regarding this podcast and a bonus show. If you enjoyed this episode, smash the like button, and if you want to further support me, feel free to subscribe. It means a lot. We're trying to grow out this podcast, make it better, add more segments, bring in more data. Who knows, maybe someday we'll be interviewing people in the field exactly regarding these topics. So yeah, it really means a lot to me if you guys like and subscribe. Well, anyways, that is all I have got. This is Michael signing off.